For 27 years, Melinda Gates stood beside one of the richest men in the world. She smiled in photos, ran their foundation, and raised 3 children. But in 2021, she walked away from it all. The divorce shocked everyone. The settlement was worth $76 billion. People whispered about Bill's mistakes, but Melinda stayed quiet. Then in 2025 at 61, she finally spoke. She revealed a meeting in 2013 that made her sick. She talked about lies that kept piling up, and she admitted the real reason she left. What she said changed everything people thought they knew. Melinda and French came into the world on August 15, 1964 in Dallas, and her childhood unfolded in a house where discipline and curiosity lived side by side. She was the second of 4 children, and her father worked as an aerospace engineer who helped send Americans to the moon during the Apollo years. Her mother stayed home and shaped the rhythm of the family with routines, values, and expectations that felt steady and warm. Their neighborhood was comfortable, never extravagant, and her father knew that raising 4 children meant planning ahead. So, in the late 1970s, he started a rental property business to make sure every one of them could go to college. This turned into a family effort, and Melinda found herself with a paintbrush in her hand by the time she was 10. Weekends meant painting walls, scrubbing floors, and learning small repairs. Soon she began to notice how responsibility felt lighter when everyone shared the load. And that lesson sank deep. As the business grew, so did the tasks. By 12, she was doing simple bookkeeping, balancing numbers that most kids her age had never seen. The idea of working for something bigger than herself became familiar. Each apartment she helped clean meant tuition saved later. Each record she managed showed her how careful planning created opportunities. Those early years shaped her sense of discipline without anyone lecturing her. She understood independence long before she understood the word itself. And that foundation kept building as she stepped into her early teens. Around that same time, something unexpected appeared in the house. Her father brought home an Apple II computer released in 1977, and it opened a door she did not know existed. At 14, she began using it to keep track of rental records, and the slow blinking cursor pulled her in. She taught herself basic, typing commands over and over until simple programs responded to her ideas. Very few girls touched coding then, and yet she found it comforting. The machine did not care about age or gender. It cared only about logic. She loved that. Hours passed while she wrote tiny scripts that solved small problems in the rental business. She started to feel that technology could help make sense of the world. And that feeling stayed with her. Her curiosity grew even stronger when she entered Ursuline Academy in 1978. The school challenged every student, and Melinda liked that pressure. She worked hard in every subject, especially math and science. And the teachers noticed her seriousness. Ursuline was one of the first schools in Texas to bring computers into classrooms, and that decision changed her path. She found computer science classes both exciting and intimidating. And every project pushed her deeper into the field she already loved. When she graduated in 1982 as valedictorian, she carried with her not just top grades, but a steady confidence that technology could shape the future. Her time there made something clear. She wanted to be part of that future. Not long after, she took her first paid job tutoring younger students in math and programming. It was the early 1980s, and very few girls taught coding to anyone. Yet she stood in front of struggling students and explained lines of basic code for $5 an hour. It was good money for a teenager, but more importantly, she learned how much she enjoyed helping others understand difficult things. She noticed how teaching sharpened her own thinking, and the confidence she gained from those sessions stayed with her. When she arrived at Duke University in 1982, all those early lessons followed her. She stepped into classrooms where she was often one of the only women studying computer science, and the energy felt different. Male students shouted answers without hesitation, and she felt the shift instantly. Her high school experience had been encouraging and balanced, but this environment sometimes felt overwhelming. In one of her first CS classes, the professor used a programming language she had never seen before. That moment made her doubt herself. But the doubt did not last. She pushed through. She studied harder. She learned faster. By 1986, she completed her BS in Computer Science and Economics. And by 1987, she had her MBA at just 23. She worked her way through those years with determination, later serving as a Duke board trustee from 1996 to 2003. Those 5 years at Duke taught her how to compete, how to adapt, and how to trust her own mind. Her internships also strengthened her path. She spent 2 summers at IBM learning how large teams worked and how software came together piece by piece. The work was demanding, but she absorbed everything she could. These internships gave her real technical experience at a time when women were rarely seen in such roles. She learned multimedia tools, coding strategies, and the importance of teamwork. Living cheaply in dorms during those summers, she found herself imagining where this world of technology could take her. She grew sharper, more confident, and more curious about the future she wanted. Then came a crossroads. After her second IBM internship, she received a job offer. It seemed like the safe choice. The company was huge. The career path looked stable. But during her final interview, her hiring manager did something unusual. The manager told her to think about Microsoft, which was still a smaller company with big dreams. That advice surprised her and even scared her a little. Starting over in Seattle did not feel simple. Yet she listened. She wanted growth, not comfort. So in 1987, she turned down IBM and joined Microsoft instead. Looking back, she said it was the decision that changed everything. She arrived at Microsoft in August 1987 as a 23-year-old product manager with a fresh MBA and a quiet determination to contribute something meaningful. Her early work revolved around multimedia products, which were still new territory in technology. One of her first major projects was Cinemania, a movie guide built on CD-ROM that launched in 1992. It blended movies, trivia, cast details, and interactive features in a way most people had never seen. The project sold more than 200,000 copies in its first year and showed that digital entertainment could be both practical and fun. That success helped her find her place inside the company. Not long after, she led the team that created Enata in 1993. Enata became one of the most important digital encyclopedias of its time. It combined text, photos, audio clips, and video into a single product. And by 1995, it had sold over 1 million copies. Families used it for homework. Schools adopted it. Computers around the world carried it. And she guided every stage of the process from design to content to the way users interacted with it. Enata showed her how powerful, well-executed technology could be. Alongside these projects, she managed products like Publisher, Bob, Money, Works, and multimedia parts of Word. Each project came with its own challenges. Microsoft Bob became her most difficult one. Bob tried to make computers friendlier by biasing a virtual house interface. But the hardware of the time was not ready for it. The program struggled and was discontinued. Yet, she carried valuable lessons from the experience. Failure did not diminish her. If anything, it made her stronger and more willing to try bold ideas. By the early 1990s, she had become general manager of information products, guiding teams of more than 100 people and leading innovations that pushed Microsoft's multimedia success to nearly 90% market share. Her leadership helped the company become a global force. Her decisions shaped software used in homes across the world, and her reputation grew quietly but steadily. In 1996, she helped pioneer Expedia, a project that transformed how people book travel. Real-time flight prices, online reservations, and a user-friendly interface made it one of the fastest-growing digital travel services of the era. By 1998, it generated $250 million in bookings. By 2002, it brought in more than $590 million in revenue and employed over 400 people. The company grew faster than most expected, and her guidance played a central role in that rise. During these same years, she also dealt with the pressure of Microsoft's antitrust battles in the 1990s that the Department of Justice investigated the company for monopolistic practices, and every division felt the weight of scrutiny. Her team focused on product quality and user experience while navigating those challenges, and Microsoft held its position as the leading software company despite constant legal tension. Behind all the work, something personal was unfolding quietly. In 1987, she and Bill Gates began dating, but they kept the relationship secret because of workplace rules. They spent 3 years building a partnership that was both personal and intellectual. On January 1st, 1994, they married on the island of Lana in Hawaii in a small ceremony with only about 20 guests. She entered that marriage with a clear sense of equality. She negotiated a strong prenup that ensured she would be an equal partner. And the quiet confidence behind that choice revealed the same independence she had carried since childhood. Melinda French walked into Microsoft in 1987 as a young product manager who loved solving problems more than being noticed. She started on small projects, then moved quickly into bigger ones like Microsoft Bob, Inata, and Word. By 1994, she was running a huge group as General Manager of Information Products, leading more than 1,700 people and shaping the consumer side of Microsoft that millions of families used at home. During this same period, she married Bill Gates, who was already famous as Microsoft's chief executive, yet inside the company, she kept her badge, her office, and her workload. People who work with her say her promotions were earned in rooms where no one cared about her last name, only if the product shipped and the work got done. She stayed in that pressure cooker through her first pregnancy, still running teams and products while her personal life changed. By 1996, she was 32 and standing at a crossroads. She could keep climbing inside one of the most competitive companies in the world, or she could walk away and raise her children. She chose to leave. That decision closed a 9-year chapter in which she had helped shape Microsoft's culture on the consumer side and open a very different one that would slowly pull her out of corporate life and into philanthropy. Right before she left, she helped push one last big project over the line. In 1996, Melinda played a senior role as Expedia grew from an internal idea into a real business. Richard Barton led the day-to-day team out of Microsoft's Redmond campus, but Melinda was one of the executives guiding strategy, backing their idea that people would someday book their travel online. Microsoft poured money into Expedia, then spun it out in 1999 as a separate public company so it could breathe on its own, recruit talent with stock options, and move faster. Years later, by 2025, Expedia Group would sit at a market value of about $19.39 billion with $18.7 billion in revenue for 2024 and more than $110.9 billion in gross bookings. The travel site that began as a side project inside Microsoft had become a global giant, and Melinda's early bets helped it outrun rivals like Travel Velocity. Even as she succeeded, the air inside Microsoft never felt easy. Melinda later described the culture as loud, sharp, and competitive in a way that often pushed women to the edge. At one point, early in her career there, she almost quit because the meetings felt more like arguments than conversations. Still, her calm style and technical skill kept her moving upward. Over time, she began quietly mentoring women, recruiting talent, and modeling a softer, more collaborative way of leading in a place many employees saw as a classic male-heavy environment. She also saw from the inside how powerful men behaved at work, including Bill silly attention to some female staff members. And that tension sat with her for years as she tried to align her values with the world she lived in each day. By the time she left in 1996, her stock options had turned her into a very wealthy woman. Microsoft's share price,